June in South Africa is Youth Month, where we celebrate and honor contribution of youth in the struggle for the liberation of this country. This year marks the 45th anniversary of June 16, 1976, when young people protested against the imposition of Afrikaans by the apartheid regime as a medium of instruction. My name is Dr. Pearl Mlotshwa. I'm the facilitator for this session, which seeks to celebrate the young people of 2021 who, even when faced with a pandemic, showed resilience to make South Africa a better place. On the visual platform, joining us this afternoon is Minister of Social Development, Ms. Lindiwe Zulu, MEC, Social Development in Gauteng, Ms. Morokane Mosupia, the Acting Director General of Social Development, Mr. Langton Mkhunu, DDG Community Development, Mr. Peter Nechipale, Mr. Siabonga Mbambo of the National Youth Development Agency, and most importantly, the young people joining us. Without wasting any time, let's go to Mr. Nechipale for his welcome. Mr. Nechipale, over to you. All right. Mr. Nechipale, while you get yourself ready, ladies and gentlemen, do not forget to post on our different social media platforms, because this session is live and we are very excited that, we are joined with yourselves this afternoon. So for many people, the child support grant, which is less than 500 a month, is nothing. But when Welile Gumede lost her job and had only the child support grant at her disposal, she had to think faster and creatively on what she could do with it. Instead of feeling helpless, Welile started a tomato farm, and now the business is a multi-rand establishment that is involved in the cultivation of commodity crops, which are mainly tomatoes, leafy greens, and peppers, using hydrophilic tunnels. Their unique selling proposition facilitates an all-year-round availability of fresh tomatoes. With a turnover of more than 6.3 million rand per annum, their social impact has seen them employ every 2 to 5 women in their community in 1 out of 5 and 1 out of 5 men. Welile, welcome. Over to you.
Thank you for having me, and it is with great pleasure to have this conversation with the world. Actually, as I think I've told my story many times, but let me tell it just one more time, just to inspire people that feel like they are helpless. In 2014, I completed my chemical engineering qualification at a local college in Durban. And in 20 internships for in-service training, for job. I just couldn't find anything. I couldn't find anything.
Are you okay, Welile? Are you able to hear us?
Sorry, my internet got disrupted because I was actually speaking through my phone and then a call came through to block the internet. So sorry about that.
Okay.
But continuing to my story, and so I couldn't find work. I just couldn't find anything, and I found myself pregnant. And the father of the child said, "Well, I think I was 3 months pregnant," and the father of the child said, well, you'll have to see what you do, but I'm not getting involved. And so I decided to keep the child. And coming from college, I never anticipated that I would earn child support grant. That is not the dream that I had for myself. And when the child was born, there was no income. There was not enough support around me. And I was back at home at the village because I couldn't afford to live in Durban. And I went back home, and within the first few weeks of the child being born, reality kicked in. I needed to buy diapers. I needed to buy milk for when I was out looking for jobs. When my mother is looking after the child, then she would have something to feed the child. And then reality kicked in. I had to swallow my pride because I never thought, or I've always looked upon people that earn child support grant as people that have not thought of a way out of a situation. So I thought I had it all figured out because at the time I think I was around the age of 23, 24. So to get to that age without getting pregnant, anyways, in my community was, I had carried myself in a way that how can you make a mistake after being past the teenagehoods and the early 20s? And then here I was at the age of 23, 24, pregnant with a child, and I was forced to take a child support grant. The first month, so they give you double the amount because from the time you apply till the first payment is about 2 months. So they give you double the payment. Tell you what, I had anticipated that I was going to buy everything that I wanted for my daughter. To my surprise, I could only buy diapers and milk, and I couldn't buy clothes. And at the time, she was going to be around 3 months. So her newborn clothes were already, I needed to give them to somebody else. And then from there, that's when my life changed. I said, this is not the life for me. I looked at my child and said, my parents had afforded me a better life. I had gone to good schools. I had gone to good universities. So why would I want my daughter to live a very submissive life? I've never had such a life. And it was then when I decided to apply for more jobs throughout the whole year of 2016 when my child was still an infant. And I just couldn't find anything. So in 2017, I said, what if I took the money and registered a company? And then I went to a local accountant and they told me that registering a company was going to cost me 2,000 rands. I didn't have 2,000 rands. And so being the person, I've always been inquisitive. I've always been on YouTube. So I then decided to go and search. So how much is it to register a company? And it was only 175 rands. And my daughter at the time didn't need much milk. So I took half of that money, of the money that I earned, the 350 rands, and I took it and I registered a company. And whatever I was left with, I bought things for my daughter. As soon as I registered a company for myself, somebody said, no, but you can register a company for me as well, and I'm going to pay you 500 rands. And so the motivation started building up to say, wait a second, I think I'm useful to some people. And at the same time, I had started thinking outside the box because there was a project in my village that has never worked. Up until today, my projects are 3 years running, and that project hadn't worked a single day in its life. And it inspired me. I said, what if I put that up and running? And this was just me thinking that if I put it up and running, I would solve so many people's problems. But with a limited thought, I thought, no, I can't do it because it's just too big, and there's so many millions that were invested, and how was I going to start something so big? And then but I challenged myself upon that. I actually went and met with the people that were responsible for the project. And unfortunately, with that particular project, I didn't make it, but it gave me motivation to go around looking for similar unused farming spaces for me to start my business. And at the same time, because like I said, I had developed a network of people that wanted me to register companies for them at a very cheap rate. I was not an accountant. I just used my knowledge of how to surf around the net. And then at the same time, people would ask me for company profiles because I could create one for myself. At the same time, I was now exposed to new information like competitions, business competitions. And I remember because I hadn't quite established the company, and I just entered a competition and I got in through a proposal that I wrote, and I got into that competition. It was 2018. I was still trying to get the lease agreements and everything in place. And voila, I was in a competition. I needed to perform. So I then decided, you know what, I am not going to turn back by the circumstances of that the lease agreement has not been fully signed. I'm just going to use the whatever that I have to start. I used the money from my child support grant plus the money that I used to make from the extra business, which gave me roughly about 4,000 rands a month in total. I used that to start what is now we've got about 50 tunnels that we farm in. And my idea was not around starting big. There was the tunnels diminished and they were run down to the core. We just cleaned and started with what was least damaged and bought seedlings and chemicals and fertilizers according to what we could afford. And the rest of the money was for me to pay my employees. I remember I started with just 3 guys that used to work at the farm. So it made it easier. I came with the information and they came with the experience and the knowledge. And then I put the information together and packaged it and was able to present now to the NYDA to say, NYDA, I've got a company. I've just won a competition. I've been taken through a course, a business course. And so I feel like I'm ready for you guys. And indeed, that is what happened. I remember when the NYDA people came, I actually didn't go through the whole process because they were like, do you have this? And I had it. Do you have this? And I had it. And I would go the extra mile of assisting them with additional information that I had. And for me, the most or my stepping stone was my SASSA child support grant, something that I had looked down upon, but was the one that assisted me in registering a company. And I used it to buy data to go on YouTube so that I could learn more about this hydroponic farming. I remember my mother saying, so the child is not even getting Danons now because you constantly on this YouTube. And I said it's for the better of her future. She will not have Danone now, but in future, in the next 3 years. And I remember I had a time frame that I didn't know where it was coming from, but the way I was so determined to make this work, I told myself in 3 years, my child is starting school. She's gonna go to creche. I timed myself. I said, she cannot have, or she cannot have what I think is the right upbringing for her. So I timed myself. I said, in 3 years' time, I need to get this done. And so in those 3 years, 2018, 19, and 20, those have been the most difficult years. And if somebody tells you that it's easy to start a business, I think it's even worse when you have no business background. Your surroundings are constantly thinking of applying for jobs. You know, every time you fail, you are reminded that you can always go and work at a local butchery or as a waitress, you know, just to say, okay, it's not working. You know, I've gotten people into the company because we were starting out to help me with the profiles of people so that I could pay. And these were like my close friends and relatives who gave up on me, who said, but we don't see where we're going. We're only making 4,000 rands a month, and we don't know where it's going. Fast forward to 2021, I've had investments from NYDA, from the SAB Kickstart program. I've won awards from the Santam Women of the Future Awards on the Rising Star category. I've won the Champions program at the UKZN, the University of KwaZulu-Natal. I've been challenging myself to attend every beneficial course. And the funny part is these things are for free, but you won't know until you get into the space. You allow yourself to change your mind, to break away from poverty, because sometimes I personally feel it was poverty that kept me locked all this time, where I didn't give myself a big enough opportunity to tap onto other things that I've not done in life. I've always been kept in a way that I always think about getting employed and not creating employment. And yeah, so in closing, I would then motivate anyone that wants to start, to just start and not have fear. Remember, when you don't have anything to lose, you can do anything, because you don't have anything to lose. And I didn't. I had lost my dignity. I had a child at home. The father broke away, ran away. I had none of money, and starting something was not. It was not like a person leaving work, resigning from work, and then, yeah. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Welile. What an inspiring story for all of us to hear. I'm sure a lot of young people out there have related to your story, that you used a seed that came through the grant that you received from SASSA to get you to the point where you are. Thank you very much for sharing your experiences with us. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to post your questions, comments, and inputs on all our different social media platforms. Up next is Linda Baleni. Linda is a manager at Gwebza Multipurpose Primary Cooperative, which was formed in 2015 to address the unemployment of young females. Her focus was particularly on those young females that were affected by gender-based violence. Many of the females are skilled in various talents such as sewing, catering, hair styling, and entrepreneurship. They received funding from the National Youth Development Agency in 2016 in order to increase their production capacity and kickstart on their SASSA school uniform project. Operations at Gwebza Multipurpose Primary Cooperative had to cease as a result of the lockdown. However, its 36 employees remotely decided to continue and produce protective face masks in the fight to reduce the spread of COVID-19. Can I give over to you to share your story with us, Linda? Over to you.
Thank you, Director of the program. I just want to first say thank you to those followed kids that passed away in 1976, that today we have a freedom that we have in our country. Gwebza Multipurpose is a cooperative that was formed 2015. Why was formed? To give the household health and restoration to the woman dignity. if niyabona apha eMzantsi mostly sina problem yama cases amaningi abantu abangomama aba-abuzwayo ngoba bengakwazi ukuzimela and bengakwazi ukwenza izinto for bona. They have to depend kubantu abangotata. So it's where we started because we saw the need of empowering abantu abancinci nabomama abadala ukuthi sibone ukuthi we can make a difference. We could stand up and make sure that we bring dignity back kubantu abangomama. And also, we thanks to NDA, nge funding 2016 that they've give us that 87,000 with some rands odds that we're adding to our staff to buy more machines. On that time, we only have 15 employees, where we end up buying more machines, where we end up in having 35 employees full-time working. And also thanks to the training that we got, was not an easy time, but one thing that I'm thankful I want to say today to every woman that's sitting there, that you can do it if we could have done it. And also we thank NDA for the training that you give it to us and also holding us our hand, take us baby step forward. And also we're thankful today, as I can say to you guys, I remember was a year where it was so difficult in my life, where I end up going to the queues of SASSA trying to go apply for social grants. But when I was standing there, I asked myself, as I'm coming here and I have people that's looking at me and seeing that we can provide and make sure that they also have something at home. And I told myself, no, man, I can't stand in the queue here for social grants. Let me go back and call these ladies and sit down and see what we can do and make sure that we come with the change in our lives. So does that happen? Even at the time of COVID lockdown, people, they were crying about their companies not doing anything. But thanks to us, thanks to the departments and others, because we as GWEBs, we carry on working on that time of difficult. And also we make sure that was bread in the table for our kids. And also we're so thankful to NDA because NDA opened us doors. As we speak now, I'm the face of change of Ackermans, and also I'm the face of change of Volkswagen. That also give us some awards to see that we're doing something. And as I'm speaking with you today, we have about 43 workers that are full-time employed by GWEBs and multi-purpose. I will say on that is plus minus 85 youth, 85% of youth and others. But what makes me happy is that all of them, they're having plus minus 5 members of their families that depends on them and make sure that they're bringing bread on table. And I'm happy saying that today, some of families, I think I have about 3 families that their daughters working with us, they don't have parents, but I'm happy to say today, they managed to take 3 brothers of them back to university. As I speak with you today, they're at university with GWEBs' help and make sure that we're bringing change and make sure that the youth and the women, they are empowered. And we're very, very happy the opportunity that we get. And I will say to every young lady, young male that's out there, there's opportunity there, go and get some help and make sure you are empowered, make sure you learn and make sure that you do the right thing. Yes, to start the company is not an easy thing, but you can do it. If we can do, you can do it. That's how GWEBs was started. And GWEBs is Mfuleni is part of Ikaelicha, where we're providing the skills to providing to women to sewing, and also we're teaching them how to sew so that they can also bring something end of the day to their table. Thank you.
What an inspiring story. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, Linda, for sharing this inspiring story with us. Again, I do believe that a lot of young people are learning from, I just quoted your line where you're saying, go grab an opportunity so that you can be able to make a difference in your life. And even in this pandemic season that we are going through as a country, I thank you that you have really inspired us to say it can still be done. And now to the exciting part where we will be inspired by young people across South Africa to share with us how they started projects in their communities despite the country and the world facing devastating effects of COVID-19. We have Refilwe from Limpopo. Refilwe, if you can just wave for us. We also have Andisiwe Mdlalana from the Northern Cape province. We also have Busang Molekane from the Northwest province. We also have Guguletu Ndaba from Gauteng province. We also have Matediso Martins from Free State province. We also have Ntokozo Priscilla Mdluli from Mpumalanga province. We also have Aphendule Maganda from Eastern Cape. We also have Pullman Channel from the Western Cape province. And lastly, we have Mr. Mbongeni Zuma from KwaZulu-Natal province. Welcome to all of you and thank you for joining us. So I will be calling each of you just to give us a story, tell us a story as indicated. Let me go to Refilwe from Limpopo province. If you can share your story with us, Refilwe. Over to you.
Yes. Yes. Hello, Ian, how are you? My name is Refilwe from Limpopo. I passed my matric in 2006, where I have my major subject with accounting and mathematics. At that moment, I have a dream, a big dream of being an accountant. As my family background of living with only my mother, and my mother was unemployed, I failed to pursue my career. So at 2007 is when I got pregnant. And after that, I got pregnant. The father of my child ran away. Then I left lonely. So as a poor background of my family, so I sit down, try to collect the pieces that I left with. I failed to go to school. I have children. We only live with a child support grant and old age pensioner, as my mother was an old lady. So I decided that I have to manage my life. How? I have a dream of studying a project in 2008, but I failed in 2008. So in 2009, I have studied a computer literacy where I have a diploma in office accounting. So from there, I started looking to work. So to have something to provide in my family. So at that moment, I failed to get work. I stay at home and just see my mother suffering, try to help us until 2012, where I have been employed as a CWP supervisor. So that dream of studying a project came again after the program of CWP tell us that we have a chance to do other projects. So when I go back home, I started to write a proposal, go visit social development office and try to seek help. And they helped me. It in 2014, I managed to register an organization of non-profit organization. My organization was going to focus about teaching and learning, where I'm going to take young people from the streets and engage them through a different sporting coach, and where we can hold awareness campaign of teenage pregnancy, HIV and AIDS, substance abuse. So I've been doing this together with social development. So I realized that in our community, we have many young people who are at the school dropout. Even others, their parents are not educated. They don't care about their child's work. So we do also a after school program where we help young people with schoolwork. We have people who teach mathematics, accounting, and economics. So again, we teach people about our culture, where we teach them how to do beats, how to present as a poet, drums, and indigenous games. So social development helped me a lot, where on 2016, they give me a first fund to erect a structure. So I built a structure with a hall and a 2-room. So I have a challenge. Challenge is my community. My community, they didn't give me a support. Just because they have, they introduce working, but close to bona, not mutual working or story to quote. Up to so far, I have people who are the volunteers in the project where they get stipend after we receive a fund. So in our community, we are in a rural place. People, they are after money, not to volunteer or to help each other. So in this COVID-19, they impact us very much. Just because we failed to do awareness campaigns of drug and substance abuse, just because in our community, many young people, they throw themselves into alcohols or substance abuse. So they don't care about their future. So meaning that this COVID-19, it disturbed us a lot because we failed to manage our target. So when the time goes, I think we're going to get another help from other activities. Just because we work as a volunteer, we don't have anything to put on the table. While the social development, it don't give us a fund. So now we are working with arts and culture. Arts and culture, it support us with a fund from this year. So it's where we can get a stipend, and our participants in the project will get something to put on their table. Up to so far, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for sharing your story with us, Refilwe. What we learned from what you just said is that it's very important to stay focused, to not give up on your goal and on your dream, and most importantly, go out there and find the support, because there will always be support if you search hard enough. Thank you very much for sharing that. Moving along, can we have Andisiwe Mdlalana from the Northern Cape? Over to you, Andisiwe.
Good day, everyone. I am Andisiwe Mdlalana from the Northern Cape. I'm actually from a very beautiful district, the Namakwa district. My story is just one of those. In 2017, I applied management as I was need for sanitary tolls for young girls, because we'd have students who would, during the time of need, ask around other students that, could you please assist me with a pad or so on. So we then decided, my friend and I, that we would start a sanitary toll campaign where we would try and assist female students with sanitary tolls. And then it became, we started going to schools, private schools, tolls, and then we started the campaign focuses on how to tools, and then we also discovered that also come from families where you be a non-sister, might also be in need of share this at home. So we try and get more sanitary tools from our society, and we just went on and on and on. So in 2018, through the campaign, we started getting secondhand clothes from women across, which is now, most of them are from the Department of Education and Department of Safety. So we've been collecting clothing for the underprivileged girls. We deliver the clothing and sanitary towels. The main thing that we would like to achieve is to know that each and every month we'd be delivering the sanitary towels, because you cannot give a young girl today a sanitary towel, and then what about the next coming months or weeks or whatsoever? So the main focus is for us to make sure that we do this on a monthly basis, that we are consistent with it. And I must say, from 2017 till this day, we've been committed. We have no funders whatsoever. We almost and also played a huge role in making sure that we get people who are consistent with supporting us. It has been a privilege, and it has been difficult at times, because at times you will knock on people's doors and nobody answers, but we are consistent, and we do believe that we will meet our target. COVID-19 has had a negative impact, as we are not even doing awareness campaigns anymore, since we cannot go to schools nor the college. But we've been trying our utmost best in making sure that each and every girl that we have been taking care of is still taken care of, even during this time of COVID. And that COVID won't stand in the way of us reaching the goal that we have as a campaign. But The main register as an NPO cooperative, whatever works for us, so that we can have funders and so that we can make sure that we only focus on our district, but we also out at the province, because I believe that this is not a challenge in which we only have in Amakwa. It's a challenge that we might be facing countrywide and worldwide. So far, we're still positive, and we know that with the positivity that we have, we're gonna reach a lot of people, and that we will reach the target that we are actually willing to reach. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That was Andisiwe Mdlalana for you from the Northern Cape. Thank you for the inspiring story. And what we gathered from what you just said to us is that it's not all the time that as young people, we need to wait for someone to employ us, but to go out and find opportunities and find a need and create something out of the opportunities and the need that we have identified. And it's really inspiring as well, the sanitary provision, because it comes with a lot of dignity for our girls who deserve equal respect and dignity as such. Thank you very much for that. As we move along, I'm going to call on Busang Obakeng Molekane from the Northwest Province to share his story with us. Over to you, Busang.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. Revolutionary greetings, Honorable Minister Lindiwe Zulu, Ms. Welile Gumete, panelists from the NYDA and other governmental departments, progressive youth representatives of different youth structures from other 8 South African provinces, families and friends, and lastly, the most relevant audience of the day as we're closing the month of June, the youth. I would like to take this opportunity and thank the Department of Social Development, along with other departments, our local Northwest Province Social Development Department, for appointing Athletes in Need organization to be the immediate representative of resilient youth organizations during the most difficult times of our 20th and 21st century, and all the other departments that have played a role in seeing this event a success. These are the events which our organization strongly believes are long overdue, as we stand as the sad and burdened youth. May God forbid, but sadly, that is our nation's current demeaning reality. Subsequent to this dialogue, my paramount wish is for the youth and everyone else part of it to exit this webinar empowered and, most importantly, motivated to look beyond our current economic status and challenges. My name is Busang Obakeng Molekane. I am 25 years old and serve as chairperson of the Athletes in Need organization based in Ikageng Township, Potchefstroom. Our organization has been in existence for just over 29 months and has in these months played an impeccable role in our local communities and large. Our core objectives and mission as Athletes in Need is to bridge the gap between the forgotten and frustrated youth, women and people with disabilities, and government by creating an infrastructure which will enable job opportunities and offer coaching assistance as well as sport and nutritional mentorship to the less fortunate communities. To surface our mission statement, we have come together as the youth of JB Max Municipality, whom have been actively involved in sports, physically or theoretically. Thus, we have partnered with local primary schools in order to offer services such as skills development to the willing and unemployed youth, coaching assistance to young boys and girls to alleviate their rife participation in social ills by lacks of drug abuse and crime, employment opportunities for tertiary graduates and high school fallouts due to circulating inequalities, and local athletes talent spotting. To launch our community development engine, we were funded by the National Lotteries Commission to acquire equipment and apparel. To be able to operate, to implement our school programs, we are granted permission by the school's SGB and principals to have the capacity to reward our members for their efforts in a form of stipends. We were adopted and funded by a non-profit organization called UltraPEC Sustainable Projects, based in Maxeke. To clean and maintain one of the school sports facilities, we are helped by the JB Marks municipality. And now, ladies and gentlemen, these were the roles we played in our community as an organization prior to COVID-19. Now, through tenacity and an adaptive team, ever since the existence of COVID-19, we have not relented. Instead, we have worked with SASA and the National Development Agency. And this partnership enabled us to help our community members who are youth, elderly, and unemployed to register and apply for SRD 350 grants for a period of 6 months. We have brought our community together and raised funds in order to procure a specially designed wheelchair for a physically different advantaged young boy called Wagensitoy. Our organization has collaborated with a national NGO called Shout It Now and Community Media Trust to run programs that include man-to-man discussions, GBV and HIV and AIDS dialogues, as well as stepping stones for adolescent teenagers and young women to share grievances and trends. Lastly, Athletes in Need organization recently hosted a youth event in conjunction with the social development on the 18th of June to commemorate the Youth Month. And through the event of our organization, we were able to hand over 16 soccer boots to local female and male soccer players who were identified to be in need. And the boots were sponsored by a funeral service parlor called Amogelang Funeral Services, also based in Ikageng Township. So now, dear fellow youths, this is my submission, and I would like to leave you with a short quote from one of my favorite role models, Malcolm X. It reads as follows, open quote, separate, don't integrate, close quote. Now, this quote does not imply that we should be rebellious, but instead it suggests that we should shy away from stereotypical norms of our society and what everyone believes is right, and take upon full responsibility of our lives to better our circumstances. A quick summary about my journey is that I also worked, I'm a former provincial and national athlete. I used to do long jump and triple jump. And through that, I managed to get a job immediately after university. And then my job made me identify the inequalities that underlie between Model C schools and township schools. And thus our organization was started. We came together as the youth, and now we are operating irrespective of any circumstance, irrespective of any challenges or lack of funding. So my submission is that no matter the circumstance, stand together, unite as the youth, and do whatever it takes to address the social ills that permeate our country. Emancipate and amandla youth. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Busang. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Busang from the Northwest Province. What you just said was that you're hoping that by the time we get to the end of the session, that young people will be empowered. Indeed, we are empowered, because what we gathered from what you said just now is that we need to look for opportunities. There will always be opportunities out there. And I also quoted, look beyond the current economic status of our country, because there will always be light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you very much for that. And I highlighted what you emphasized on partnerships, that circumstances may not change if you do not find partnerships and collaborate to make a difference in your circumstances. Thank you very much for that, Obakeng. As we move along, I would like to call on Guguletu Ndaba from Gauteng Province. Over to you, Guguletu. Guguletu, if you can unmute yourself.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
And greetings to the honorable ministers, the MECs, officials, and my fellow NPO colleagues. Thank you for this opportunity to present our organization, which is Kitso Information and Development Center, and our Raingrow Primary Agricultural Cooperative in this webinar. My name is Kukule Tundaba. I live in Sharville in the Sidibeng region. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, I was just staying at home doing nothing. I was unemployed and disillusioned. One day I went to the old police station to get food parcels, but on that day I did not get any. Kitso Information and Development Center staff, they took our personal and contact details, and then weeks later, I received an SMS that I should attend classes for life skills and computer skills at the development center. I enrolled and then started attending classes, and in life skills, I learned a lot about myself and the perspective things in life. And in the computer skill class, I learned to assemble a computer from scratch, install the software and the end user program. I then attended business skills classes where my dream of being a farmer came true. When I joined the other beneficiaries and we were assisted to start an agricultural cooperative. Our journey resonates with Umama Ushalot Maxeke's life story, which promotes the value of education and skills, especially among youth and women. Kitso Information and Development Center is a woman-founded NPO committed to giving skills and education to out-of-work, vulnerable, and out-of-school young people. In this year of Umama Ushalot Maxeke, we encourage young people, especially young women, to embrace the spirit of initiating opportunities that were traditional to fight the scourge of gender-based violence and femicide. We need to love sharing information and teaching others. We also need to embrace the spirit of independence and self-empowering through getting involved in farming and other production-based initiatives. Raingrow Primary Agricultural Cooperative was formed in a business skills class, and it is incubated by Kitso Information and Development Center. This cooperative is made up of beneficiaries, in computer skills that are offered at Kitso. We are 6 members, which is myself, Ubukule Tundaba, Joseph Nyama, Itumeleng, Sitlakule, Ntabeleng Miladu, Mpo Muloi, and Maniki Noko. We are a primary agricultural cooperative that started farming training on the seed beds on the ground, and we later got a donation of 2 vertical farming hydroponic tunnels by the Butterfly Foundation in Durban, which were supplied by If Life Fresh Produce in Cape Town. That is when we started urban farming training. We are farming vertically in these tunnels, and in each tunnel, it is consisted of 96 pots, which are not using soil, but we're using coconut coir. The tunnels are self-irrigated, which saves a lot of time and a lot of water. I can proudly say that we are now masters in building these tunnels on our own. We can prepare the coconut coir and planting them. This cooperative is to later create 3 independent entities to supply Kitso CNDC with fresh produce and then open a market in the community on Fridays up until our permanent store is established. At the end of July, the 3 entities will be ready to supply, process, and package the fresh produce for both Kitso, CNDC, and the community. We have applied for assistance from the Gauteng Department of Agriculture, and then they have donated some seeds and tools and provided us with a training on how to plant seedlings and transplant to the seed beds and taking care of our plants. Besides being currently trained to supply and install these tunnels, we are looking at being the leaders in urban farming, food processing, and agricultural logistics in this country. We have also met with Mr. Wisen Lungu from Zambia, who is the CEO of Onyx Connect. He is working and helping women in farming in Lusaka, who are transporting their yields with his buffalo bicycles. Onyx Connect has signed the MOU with Anywhere Africa, which has agreed to take us on the project to Zambia for the supply and training on these tunnels to women farmers there. This project is supported by Green Tech Capital African Foundation based in Berlin, in Germany, and assisting startups in Africa. Ikito Information and Development Center got funding for 12 more vertical farming tunnels from the Gauteng Department of Social Development, which are almost complete to be commissioned. These tunnels are to be our enterprise development and incubation hub, and then be a commercial urban farm as well as an urban farming training center for other young people. We are also selling these tunnels to other emerging farmers, organizations, and individuals in sizes and designs that suit their budget and spaces. We are geared to be fully commercial farmers, where we will have a sale and training center to sell and train people who buy an African grower. An African grower is 4 vertical planting pots connected together that are easy to hang and anyone can purchase and use anywhere. Our plan is every household in Gauteng and South Africa to have an African grower and planting them. Other cooperatives like us can sell these and embrace this method of farming as well. Our tunnels are built at our development center and have created 10 jobs with 2 rehabilitated substance abusers being part of this team. We also have 3 other new rehabilitants that are volunteering and getting support in quitting their drug use. These rehabilitees and others, the new program participants undergoing the unique I'm Ready to Quit It program run by Ikito and Development Center with assistance by those who have changed and quit the drugs and substance abuse themselves. To conclude, urban farming is a direct and impactful solution to hunger and poverty. We see these urban farms as a solution to eradicate dependency on social grants, as they are both food growing establishments, but also a business opportunity. They also play a big part in food security and exit strategy from relief programs. Urban farming is the future, and young people should embrace it as it uses technology and it is localized. Our cooperative is prepared to assist other people in other regions to use this technology and revolutionary farming techniques. We need support in getting every CNDC these tunnels within their funding budget, as Quito CNDC is now supplied by our farm. This system can be placed anywhere, anytime, and sustain families with organic food within their own habitats. And thank you for the support from the region and from the province. And thank you, Minister, for the visit. And then thank you for buying the tunnel from us. I thank you, everyone.
Wow, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That was Gugule Tundaba from Gauteng province for you. What an inspiring story once again. What I gathered from you was that you're saying to young people of South Africa and beyond, be the solution that we need. You're saying to young people of South Africa, education is important because it's important to continuously empower yourself so that you can then be able to say that you are able to use the skills that you've acquired to establish the cooperative that you've spoken about. Thank you very much for inspiring us in this manner. And lastly, you indicated embrace the spirit of taking initiative, because angeke uze uyithole uhlele khoneni. Thank you very much for that, Gugu. I want to afford the opportunity now to the next province, the Free State province, where we will be hearing from Matsediso Martins. Over to you, Matsediso.
Hey everyone, my name is Maxeke Martins. I'm from Proud to Serve. When I once started Proud to Serve, we were working in CWP. When I started, we were working at CWP as a participant. Then we just thought of how can we develop, because the money that we get in CWP is small money. Then we realized that how about we open an NPO, non-profit organizations. Then me and my participants, we started to go, how about we donate some money so that we can register our NPO. Then we started there and donate that money, and then we started to register. After that, we said, how about how can we go forward with our work? But then we started donating again and buying some vegetables so that we can sell, in order that we can buy sanitary towels and supply different schools in our rural areas, because of some girls, they are struggling through poverty. And if you are a girl and you don't have a sanitary towel, you won't be able to go to school. Then we continuing asking for fundings, and then when after that fundings, we reached about 300 sanitary towels, pads. Then we started giving to the different schools in our rural areas. And we had a funding from World Vision last year in 2018. We found that, and then that funding we started giving schools. Then we have a funding from social development. That funding we are given. That's when we have to make an awareness campaigns for the youth, so that we can encourage our youth to stand up and make something for themselves, so that they can go out of drug abuse and teenage pregnancies. Then we've been stopped with COVID-19. Then we realized, but how about we open a cooperative making a sanitizer stands? Then we started donating again and registering cooperatives. After that, we go registering for cooperatives. We then found a funding from social development. Now our cooperatives is a going project. We've made sanitizer stands. One thing that we need from now is just a training, because we've made a sanitary stand, but when the audit comes, they saw that we have a problem there and there. So we need trainings, but we had Meals on Wheels it's a company that has promised us a trainings from now on. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Maxeke, for such an inspiring story. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, what I gathered and what I learned from what Maxeke has shared with us is that in order for young people of this country to cope during this pandemic season, is that we need to grab opportunities. We need to continue grabbing opportunities, because he also indicated the issue of funding that was out there available, which got him to the point where he is now. And I think as you speak, even with the previous speaker, what I'm just reminding South Africans is that let us also support these cooperatives, because this is young people's way of coping during this time where we are aware of the issues that we face as a country, particularly when it comes to youth unemployment. Thank you very much for inspiring us, Maxeke. Moving along, I do want to call upon Unontogozo Priscilla Mdluli from Mpumalanga Province. Over to you, Nontogozo.
Ladies and gentlemen, May I greet you all. My name is Nantagozo from Mpumalanga Province. Ngisebenza e-Amsterdam Development Center. I-Amsterdam is a small community lapho abantu khona abasha abangasebenzi baqala i-organization ebizwa ngokuthi Amsterdam Development Center lapho asisa khona abantu abasha like ukuthi bathole ama-service free like ukuphotocopy nokuprinta free ama-CV. Siyabafundisa nokutype i-CV ukuthi i-CV kumele ngoba kumanje abantu abasha abaningi abasingabathatha ama-CV bathina siyaba-assista ukuze bakwazi ukutype ama-CV and okunye siyaba-assista kakhulu ikakhulukazi ba-assista ukuthi ba-apply online mangene online like NSFAS ba-apply so NSFAS sifunza lushaka namanye ama-bursaries ama-bursaries akhona la e-South Africa. Okunye siyaba-assista kakhulu ukuthi bathole ama-funding kwamanye amakhampani noma like mawunebhizinisi ufuna ukuqala lakho wena abangithi banamakhono like ukuthi uma usho umuntu omusha ungahlali ungabi ne-income that's your own business. Ukuthi bathole amabhizinisi okunye siyaba-assista kakhulu ukuthi baye ema-varsity like uma umuntu ungahlali ekhaya sohleli ugcina abantu abaningi benza imizwa basebenzeni because after masheke impilo inzima ikakhulukazi kithi thina abantu abasha sithola sihlele emakhaya singasebenzana thina siyabathola siba-assiste ukuthi noma thiwa uhlele ekhaya ungahlali ekhaya yenza something u-apply like uthole i-scholarship uthole ibe ngcono uzokwazi ukuprovide umndeni wakho uzokwazi ukusebenza ondle umndeni wakho ube something sebenzisana kakhulu-ke thina as Amsterdam Development Development like uma shuthi umuntu omusha usebenzisa ama-drugs usebenzisa idakamizwa sikoqise kabanzi sitshele ukuthi ingozi ezingakufaka lezi dakamizwa lezo yinani asise kakhulu usebenzisana ne-social development sicela ukuthi amanibakise like rehab umuntu omusha ayarigela usizo something because abantu abasha gcina sebayangena kudakamizwa efana like alcohol ama-drugs inyawo sibasiza kakhulu thina la e-Amsterdam Development sisebenzisana ne-social development ukuthi baye-rehab. Ngiyabonga kakhulu.
Wow, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Notogozo Mdluli from Mpumalanga Province. What an inspiring story that you just told us, which reminded me of reminding the young people of South Africa, Uguti ungahlali, meaning fight until you are able to find a solution to the challenges that you are faced with. Resilience is a very interesting topic that you just indicated now, to say have the resilience and the ability to bounce back. And it will only come about, ladies and gentlemen, if we go out there as young people and grab these opportunities. Very inspiring story indeed. You found a need in your community where young people had lost hope, but you went out of your way to assist them in developing the CVs so that they can be able to grab these opportunities that we're talking about. Thank you very much, Nontogozo. Moving along, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Aphendule Makanda from the Eastern Cape province. Over to you, Aphendula.
Camera off now.
Aphendule?
Hello.
We can hear you now. The stage is yours.
Good day, everyone. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. You can continue, Aphendule.
Good day, everyone. My name is Apendule Makanda from Eastern Cape Province. I was doing grade 12 at 2017. Ndicela uthetha ngesiXhosa ke language
Thetha.
yam. So emva koba ndenze ugrade 12 ngo-2017 ndandifuna ukwenza i-tourism management. But due to my poor background, zange ndikwazi uqhubekeka. Ndaye ndazidibanisa ne-youth camp, ndahamba i-youth camp. I-unemployment i-high kwi-village endihlala kuyo. And into endiyithandayo ke wonke umntu uyazenzela izinto zakhe. As i-youth siyadibana siyi-youth sithethe nge-crime, i-drugs ngeyona nto iphezulu. So ndidibanisa i-youth ye-community yam sincokole ngaloo nto. But i-funds asinazo and i-skills zibalulekile. Enye into endiyenzayo i-general assistant esikolweni. Ndiyenzisa abantwana i-homeworks kwenzela uba bakwazi ukupasa baye phambili. Akho nto ingako ndizayithetha. Ndithi vukuzenzele mntu omtsha. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Apendule. What I gathered from you was that it's not easy, young people. You know, we're not painting a picture that there are no challenges this afternoon, but what we are saying, and I'm glad that you've put it out there to say, young people are willing to do something, young people are willing to change their life circumstances, but sometimes the challenge is that there isn't funding for them to be able to get along. So thank you very much for sharing that. And I hope that by the time we get to the end of the session, there will be an idea of where you can get some of the support that is needed in order, to support you in what you want to do as a young person that wants to make a difference. Thank you very much for that. Moving along, we are having the Western Cape Province represented by Paulman Channel. I'm going to hand over to you, Paulman. Paulman, I think you would need to unmute yourself. While Paulman is getting ready, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure if it's a connectivity issue. Can I move and just call on the representative from KwaZulu-Natal province? And from KwaZulu-Natal, we have Mr. Mbongeni Zuma. Over to you, Mr. Mbongeni Zuma.
Program Director, Dr. Pearl, Kamageba, Minister, uZulu, Ndabezitha ngithi angibulise. Ours as KwaZulu-Natal is to say, yes, it's been a tough time. It's called for resilience, young Mbela. Our story is very short. During the time when the president announced the lockdown in South Africa, young people within our area of Mkungundlovu district, KwaZulu-Natal, we asked ourselves a question that says, we know that our people are hungry. We know that our people need help. What can we do? We met different young people who were unemployed graduates at that time, and asked that question to say, what can we do? We came up with three things. One, we said, our people cannot get hungry when we have contact, when we have seen people who can help them. We started to run a campaign that's for food parcels. And on that campaign, it gets highly successful. We ran it and we distributed about 300 packs of food. While we're still doing that, you'll remember that there was a story of Ugogo Zuma during the lockdown that was killed by people who presented themselves as police. Then when that story happened around our area, then when that story happens, we asked ourselves to say, what can we do to protect the elders? What can we do to protect the women in this space? A week later, another girl by the name Akona Mncube was killed by her boyfriend. And we said, you know what, we can't tolerate this. And when we went to listen to a killer or the boyfriend on what was the cause, then we said, one of the things that the boyfriend said to us was to say, we've got no say on what had happened to Akona because we're not there. He was the one who was providing toiletry packs for her. He was the one who was providing food for her. And we said we cannot allow a situation where our young women, where our young people can die on the hands of the men because these men are providing. If you go online and check Mzansi Youth in Business, you will see that we are one of those young people that were walking from Pietermaritzburg to Durban at Umhlanga to raise sanitary packs. And we managed to raise about 10,000 packs, not just pads alone, but packs with toiletry packs with the lotion, toothbrush, and all of those things. In that space, we were then negotiating. We looked at it and say, we are young people, we've got skills. We have young people that got skills in terms of management. We've got young people that have got skills in terms of social work and all of those. And we went to Inkos and say, Ndabezitha, you can see that we've got an old school and this school is no longer at use. Can we utilize it? And Ndabezitha said, I've seen you on TV. I've seen you on newspaper. Yes, you can utilize the school. From there, we then said, okay, what are we doing? I have to say that reading the most progressive programs or policies of social development, there is one policy that struck us when we read it. It's called Sustainable Livelihoods. We looked at it and we looked at the Sustainable Livelihoods program as the program that says, in a space of disaster, where there is no one and everyone is in distress, how can the society rebuild itself? And we looked at this concept and say, this is the most powerful concept. We started to grapple around it and we started to grapple around it until we come up with what can we do for our society. To cut the long story short, in the school currently, we've got a school that is now revamped with the help of Department of Social Development in the province. I want to extend my thanks and my praise to the province of KwaZulu-Natal, Mama, MEC, Mamnontlantla Khoza, the support that we've got. We've got now a space we can call a youth center with 2 digital centers. The one is a resource center where young people can come in, register a business, have CVs, have laminator and all of those things, make copies and do all those things for free, can also be able to connect online. On the other side, we've got an HIV digital center. You know, that's my most favorite space. There we are able not to communicate just HIV only, but we communicate all communicable diseases. We find a space where we get young people, we've got old people to come who skills to come and share with us on how best we can survive in a space of disaster, how best we can survive in a space of viruses. But also, I will really want us to go back and ask the question that says, we had a generation of our Mamuchelot. They defy the status quo that says women and young people should be in distress. We had a generation, your mama Uzulu, who said, you know what, we want freedom in our lifetime. When Minister Uzulu this time, when she was asked by one of the journalists at the sideline of our conversation that we had with young people, she said, the journalist was asking a question, what can be a message that she can share with young people? She shared a serious and a profound message to us that says, if there is one thing that she can say, it's time for young people to fight for radical economic transformation. It's time for the young people to go and fight for economy, for economy in all frontiers. I would want to say to all young people here, we had a generation that came before us. They've shown serious resilience. We are here now. We are the generation that is before a certain generation. Yes, we are faced with serious challenges. Part of it is COVID-19, part of it is unemployment, part of it it's social crimes. But all in all, we are the generation, we've got a certain mission to fulfill, and it's up to us whether we fulfill it or we betray it. I thank you.
Wow, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Mbongeni Zuma, for such an inspiring talk that you have given to us this afternoon. And again, what I gathered from you is the youth of 1976 had a different struggle to the youth of 2021. The youth of 2021 should recognize that the struggle has changed in its way, but it has become a struggle for economic achievement of economic freedom. Thank you very much for that. And I also got inspired when you indicated that you need to be able to look around and find opportunities and be the solution that is needed. Don't forget to post questions, ladies and gentlemen. Post your questions and comments and inputs on all our different social media platforms. The young people have spoken, and true to the spirit of young people of resilience and living up to the Kwaito musician Mandoza in his song, Uzoyithola Kanjani Uhlele Khoneni, it is clear that they were not sitting around with their arms folded during the difficult times of COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Sia Mbambo of the National Youth Development Agency is also joining us virtually. Could you take us through, Mr. Sia, through the programs that the National Youth Development Agency has for young people and your assistance at this time of the national lockdown? We know that the economy is not doing well. The fiscus is also challenged. The statistics of youth unemployment are devastating. So, Mr. Sia, please tell us, what can the young people do? What opportunities are there? Tell us what the NYDA is doing for the youth of South Africa. Over to you, Mr. Siyabonga.
Thank you, Program Director. I request just a minute to open up my presentation.
Okay, can you speak to your presentation, Mr. Siabonga Bambo?
I'm loading it now. Okay, Chair, I'm battling to screen share it, but I'll speak to it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Siabonga. Over to you. Take us through the presentation.
Yes, thank you. So, as you are aware, colleagues, that South Africa has a low total entrepreneurship activity when it comes to...
Just a moment, Mr. Mbambo. We would like to see you. If you can just fix your camera for us.
Okay.
You, Mr. Mbambo. See you. Thank you very much. Yourself, sir. Please unmute yourself, Mr. Mbambo.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Greetings, colleagues, and all protocol observed. I was saying, Chair, as you are aware that South Africa has the lowest total entrepreneurship activity in South Africa, especially amongst young people who are between the ages of 25 to 34 years of age. The last measure that was done, our entrepreneurship activity was at 9.2%, which compared to other African countries was below average. In fact, when we compare to our counterpart in terms of efficient-driven economies, we're supposed to be sitting around the region of about 18%. So that is quite a huge challenge for us, because as we know that one of the issues is that when we look at the issue of entrepreneurship activity, in other words, looking at how many young people actually venture into entrepreneurship-related activities, we established that there is a correlation between the level of education and entrepreneurship activity, and that correlation is sitting at about 67.4%. So meaning that the more you are educated, the higher is it that you're going to engage in, the higher the likelihood that you are going to engage in entrepreneurship-related ventures. So, and we realize that in instances where education is poor, the entrepreneurship activity dropped to a level of about 4.4%. And we also picked up that young men are more likely to be entrepreneurs than compared to their counterpart in terms of females. So what does all this mean? We then ran a study in South Africa just to look at what is it that young people are looking at and what is their interest. And we established that lot of the activities or the surveys that we conducted, especially in townships and rural areas, young people are more interested in running enterprises around the spaces of hair salon, barbers, and all those other related activities. But interesting enough, when you zoom into that, you then establish that the people who are running hair salon and barber shops are actually foreigners as compared to South Africans. And most of young people in South Africa were actually more interested in leisure-related activities like your DJing, organizing events and gigs, developing posters, operating gyms, running takeaways and fast food restaurants. So those are the areas where young people seem to focus on. So in terms of the National Youth Development Agents, in terms of the model that we use to assist young people, we have a value chain, and that value chain looks at, we provide entrepreneurship awareness where we tell people about what is it to be an entrepreneur. It's and focus on idea generation, business development, how to start your business, grow your business, and expand your businesses. We also assist young people to conduct need analysis for them so that we can establish whether they are entrepreneurs or they are job seekers. And once we've determined that, then we channel them to the appropriate program in terms of training. We provide business management training for those that want to be entrepreneurs, and we provide life skills training We also provide life skills training for those that are job seekers, and also provide job preparedness training program, which focuses on assisting them to draft CVs, how to behave in an interview, dress code, and all these other related issues, including professional etiquette. And then on the issue of business management development services, after we've given you business management training, we help you to draft business plan, we give you training, we give you mentorship support and market linkages, and then we eventually give you funding to start your own enterprise in the form of a grant program, which starts off from 1,000 Rand up to 250,000 in any area of business that you are interested on. The exclusion there will be in a primary business that sells tobacco and alcohol. However, if you're opening a restaurant, we can provide with that. And then we provide market linkages and mentorship services and aftercare to those businesses for a period of 2 years. So last year, we ran a program which was called 1,000 Youth-Owned Enterprises in 100 days. So the idea was that we're going to fund 1,000 youth-owned businesses in 100 days. And the aim of the program was particularly to target young people in township so that we make government services available to them in an efficient manner as quickly as possible. So we set ourselves this target. And I'm proud to say that we did manage to fund about 1,000 young people in the campaign. And the sectors that we funded, agriculture and agro-processing, we funded about 138 young people, which represent 14% of the total value of funds. Arts, education, and health, we funded 2%. Automotive and manufacturing, it was 14%. Construction and property, it was 3%. Consulting and legal, it was 1%. Hospitality, it was about 4%. Information communication technology, which is ICT, it was 4%. Installation, maintenance, and repair, it was 2%. Logistics, tourism, and recycling, which is waste, it was about 1%. Services, which talks to be it food and all these other related things, it was 43%. Textile and indigenous goods, it was about 1%. And then wholesale and retail, it was about 11%. What is interesting, Chair, about this stat is that the bulk of the money went to services, and these are the people that were heavily impacted by the lockdown because they rely on customers walking in for them to be able to service them. And obviously now what we are trying to do is to look at a longitudinal study to say, how have they been impacted as the lockdown has been persistent? In terms of gender, 58% of the beneficiaries were male and 42% were female. And in terms of distribution across provinces, Eastern Cape received 15% of the funding, Free State received 11%, Gauteng received 24%, KZN received 14%, Limpopo at 12%, Mpumalanga at 17%, Northwest at 2%, and Northern Cape at 2%, Western Cape at 4%. I think for us, it was a surprise to see Northwest coming as low as 2%, because if you look at the population distribution, Northern Cape, yes, the population of young people is quite low. It's below 750,000 with a population of about 1.1 to 1.2 million. But with Northwest, there's quite a significant number of young people. The population is between 3 to 4 million. So it was quite surprising for us why this would be so low. So in terms of the impact of COVID-19, obviously, we had intended to roll out this program within 100 days. We ended up taking about 123 days because we lost about 66 days in terms of the lockdown and had to add about plus minus 73 days in terms of the rollout, which gave us a net days of about 130 days in implementing this project, excluding the lockdown 66 days that I've mentioned. So in other words, the lockdown impacted on our operations quite significantly. We could not deliver timelessly as we had intended to do. Now, when we look at COVID-19, we also conducted a survey during the period to say what are the issues that young people were experiencing during this period of lockdown. And in our survey, in terms of the number of respondents, 42% were from townships, 18% were from rural areas, 8% were from cities, and 12% were from suburbs. And 96% of the respondents employed between young people from 1 to 10 and 4% over 10 people. 26% of the respondents indicated that they couldn't generate revenue during this period, and 22% indicated that they had challenges with cash flow, and 14% were unable to generate any form of sale. And obviously 38% then said they had to retrench staff, others said they had to give their staff salary cuts, and then those that gave their staff salary cuts could then manage to keep them on board for the duration of the. That prompted us then to launch a youth micro enterprise relief fund during the period which we were offering to young people virtually. We've managed to fund to date about 1,196 companies out of the youth relief micro, which was running in parallel with the 1,000 businesses in 100 days. So what's going to happen going forward is that we are now currently engaging on working on the SA Mobi Youth Platform, which is a platform that we post job opportunities for young people who are job seekers. The platform is 0 rated. However, if you need to download it, you need to have data. But once you have downloaded it, then you can log in and register for free, and then you can use it for free. You don't have to pay. What is interesting in the platform is that you are able to build your profile in a form of a CV. You are also able to read content that is we post regularly to update yourself and to learn about opportunities. You can apply through the platform. It's interactive. The people who are offering opportunities can respond back to you via SMS and schedule interviews and so on. So it's quite a useful platform for young people who are looking for work employment and opportunities. And it also reduces the time of contacting young people, and also it also reduces the cost of recruitment. So I'll advise a number of young people to register on the platform. It's called SA Youth Mobi. The other upcoming program that we are going to be launching very soon is called the Challenge Fund. What we have observed is that there's quite a number of existing enterprises who cannot scale up because they receive funding to kickstart, but they cannot be able to scale up due to a number of challenges. So the Challenge Fund will be centered around scaling up existing businesses. So you should have been in operation for a minimum of 1 year, and you need to expand your business. And then you will apply for the grant funding, and then we'll be able to assist you. But we have focused the fund to look at specific sectors, and those sectors will be information communication technology, agro-processing and agribusiness, creative industries, transport, logistics and automotive services, health and wellness, light manufacturing, energy and renewable recycling. The fund will be on average about 100,000 rand. Over and above that, the NYDA continues to offer its normal program, the grant program, the voucher program. However, I must indicate that now that we're on level 4 lockdown, the only thing that we are not offering at this point in time is training, but all other one-on-one services remain available. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Mbambo, for such a detailed presentation. And we know the good works that come from the agency, who is really instrumental in the youth development sector, along with other government departments. A lot of young people as well did indicate the support that has been received from the National Youth Development Agency. And I think what it is just saying to the young people who are tuning in and are part of this conversation this afternoon is to say, once again, there is help, there are opportunities to grab, and NYDA is one of the structures that you can actually, seek help and support from, because we know that there is funding that you can get from the NYDA. You can get training, you can get skills, and they can assist you with quite a number of things so that you can establish yourself. Thank you very much for that. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, do not forget to tune in to our media platforms where you can provide with your comments and your inputs so that we can be able to hear as well what it is that you are thinking. You've heard for yourself from the young people directly. Give us your thoughts on the conversation. As I say this, I'm giving the opportunity to our minister, who has been with us as the young people were speaking for themselves, sharing their experiences, telling the story of NYDA, telling the story of DSD and SASA and NDA for us through the experiences that they've had. I would like to give this opportunity to you, Minister, and thank you very much for being with us this afternoon. Over to you, Mama. Ladies and gentlemen, we're just waiting for the Minister of Social Development, Mama Lindiwe Zulu, to join us as she gives us her thoughts, her thinking, her inputs on what the young people have shared with us this afternoon. Very inspiring stories that we've heard from young people. And if we looked at quite a number of talks that we had from the young people, if I were to summarize it, it just says, grab the opportunities, be resilient, strive to make a difference, and grab these opportunities so that you can have the ability to fight back and the ability to bounce back. Over to you, Mama. I can see that you have been able to join us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Program Moderator, Director for Youth Development, Dr. Pearl. By the way, it's been a pleasure crisscrossing the country with you and carrying the kind of energy that you are carrying for young people. I think the young people can see for themselves that we do have a lot of young people in the department who are contributing towards the implementation of our program and our mandate as the Department of Social Development. I'm not sure how many MECs are on the platform, but may I just welcome those that are on the platform, and also welcome all other who were invited and have made their contributions. And I am very happy that you also invited Usiabonga Mbambo from the NYDA, because I think social development must not be looked at only from a point of social safety nets without thinking of the opportunities that are available for young people in the different areas of our work. And I'm happy that Dr. Pearl, you also spoke about the empowerment of young people and using structures that are in the Department of Small Business Development, where young people can be able to go and find the opportunities that are present, are available there from government. But I also want to add to the young people who are here that don't only look at what government can assist you with. We are in this together, together with the private sector, big and small businesses. We are in this together with NPOs and NGOs. We are in this together with academic institutions who should be helping us work together in a very coordinated manner. So it's a pleasure for me to be part of this webinar. And I have been listening to the young people who have been speaking here in almost all the 9 provinces. And I wish to thank them, because I don't think the young people who are on this platform were just chosen out of liking them. The young people who are on this platform are on this platform because they've earned being in this platform. And I say this because of my practical experience, having been crisscrossing the country from the Northern Cape to the Western Cape to KwaZulu-Natal. I know that I didn't manage to reach many of the provinces which we would have reached under normal circumstances. But due to the challenges of COVID-19, all of you are very much aware of the challenges that we are facing. And therefore, it's my call to say to you, yes, there is COVID-19. Yes, it has reduced our action and the implementation of our programs. But it is the same young people today here who are saying we have to be resilient. It is you who is talking about resilience here. And therefore, it means your being here is a testimony to the work that you do, not only in your own families, in your own homes or your own streets, but the work that you do from your communities. You know, when you listen, for instance, to KZN, where we went to work with Umzansi Youth, and the fact that they're talking about action plans that they took immediately after realizing problems with the elderly, but problems of gender-based violence. And they themselves are saying this cannot be. They needed to take action. And what I also liked was the fact that we spoke about behavioral change, because when a boyfriend thinks that he has the right to abuse, to beat, and to kill a woman simply because he is supposedly the one that is catering for that woman. It says to us there's something that we need to do with regard to behavioral change. Also, I want to remind you, by the way, that when President Cyril Ramaphosa spoke in closing when he spoke at the launch of the Youth Month, he asked young people to be focused, to be patriotic, to be committed, and be consistent. And he said this requires hard work. And he said, you are a generation that is born into democracy. And therefore you must take greater interest in the development and destiny of your own country. We are here speaking at a time when the issues of the economy are very difficult. Unemployment is at its highest, and young people are the most affected by this. Poverty, hunger, unemployment, skills development, economic empowerment, education, and a whole range of other issues that are facing our country. But this is what I'd like to say to you, that despite all these issues that are being raised as a concern for young people and our communities in general, what I think I'm excited about today is the fact that most of the young people who spoke today, they didn't come here to moan and groan and say, so-and-so is not doing this for us. All of them individually, they came here to say, we see a challenge, we see a problem, and this is what we are doing about it. And we are looking for government to create a conducive environment in order for us to be able to work. And that's why my Department of Social Development, and I want to say to the department as well, when we have such platforms, we must make sure that we have a coordinated approach, which we have started already doing. You've called other departments, you've called the NYDA. I think that this also would be a platform where the different agencies and government departments can be able to come and explain to young people what exactly is available, what are the opportunities, including inviting the private sector, because the building of this country is not only for government, it is for everybody to contribute towards the building of this country. And what I also liked, as I was also crisscrossing the country, I just want to share with you two incidences that I think, no, three. I'm happy that Umzansi youth spoke for themselves, so I'm not gonna go into my experience with them and what I found there. When we were in the Western Cape, there was a young lady there called Balisa something or something. My apology if I'm not pronouncing it properly. She took an advantage and was trained by Ululwazi Lwetu. And so when Ululwazi was launching its training center, she was able to speak there. And this young woman said, she said she was encouraged by Ululwazi Lwetu, encouraged to study, completed her human resource degree, now busy with her honors, now senior project manager. And this is what I learned from here, because I want you to tell you young people, don't ever think that learning is a one-way process. Learning is a two-way process. We all as adults, old as we might be, we learn from you because you are the young people of the time and you experience certain things that we don't experience, we didn't experience. She said, and I quote, "It has always been about a village to build a child." And she said, for her, it now takes an opportunity to build a person. And therefore she was simply saying to us, yes, we respect the saying that it takes a village to build a child and all that, but she was now saying things are very different from the days when a village could be able to take care of a child and make sure that the child is nurtured and protected. But she says now, Minister, now government, understand this. It takes an opportunity to build a person. And she was saying herself, it took an opportunity for her to be where she is today. And she was able to stand in front of the crowd and confidently speak about what she does. The second one that I also want to share with you today is by a young woman called, well, she's a girl really. She's called Riatlegile, Queen Black Mabusela. I found her on Instagram and we started communicating there. And then I called her and she gave me her bright ideas about who she is. She started founding, she's a founder and editor-in-chief of For Us Amazing Kids. And this is a magazine that she started herself. And yesterday in my conversation with her, she had very bright ideas about the future. I checked her website and all that. One very important thing that Ria said to me yesterday, it's you are never too young to lead. And therefore she is ready to lead in as far as her generation is concerned, in as far as her age mates are concerned. And so I'm excited because I feel almost everywhere I go. Sometimes I hear people talking about you young people as a lost generation and all that. I don't believe in that because I'm sure even in the olden days, even ourselves when we were struggling, some people might have said the same thing, that we are a lost generation. I don't believe you are a lost generation. I believe that you are facing new challenges that need you to be resilient, that need you to look at the opportunities around you, that need you to look for opportunities. Here as government, as the Department of Social Development, I was very happy to hear from almost all the speakers relating to the support that they have in as far as the programs of social development is concerned, in as far as both national, provincial, and local. I want to say to you, it's important for you to understand and appreciate the strategies, the plans, and the implementations plan of government, the plans that we have for helping people to change their lives, the creation of a conducive environment for you to do that. I want you to go back also and look at the district development model, which is a district development model that is going to enable us to understand what is the economy of a district, what are the challenges that face a district, but what are the opportunities that are there in your district. So in other words, I'm saying to you, know your district, know its capabilities and possibilities, know the business that is around your district, and go to the offices of local government to find out what is it that you can do in order for you to be supported in all the programs that were clearly stipulated and clearly articulated by most of you here. And the apologize for using your language. This is the language that you've been growing out speaking all the time. It is you, the organizers, who are supposed to then make an arrangement for ensuring that there's translation and all, because information is power. And when others feel that they are not able to communicate in the best way that they can, in the way inside them, then you are disempowering them for us to assist. Lastly, there's also an issue of people with disability. I think that at all times, we must make sure that there is a representation of those people so that their voice can also be heard. The Department of Social Development has programs for young people in general, and we would also want, we don't want others to feel that they are marginalized and they are not brought on board. I know that I've taken quite a while, but I thought rather than go into the entire speech as properly prepared, I wanted to express my appreciation having listened to the young people who are here, young people who know who they are, who know what they are about, who know what they want to do, young people who are prepared to step up and contribute firstly to themselves as individuals, but also to their family. They see you when you're doing the work, and I'm sure they are encouraged by what you do. And I want to also thank you and say to you the things that you are saying here. See yourselves multiplying in your hundreds in the different provinces where you come from. See yourselves multiplying in the programs and projects that you spoke to here today, so that the better South Africa that we are talking about is created by you. People talk about you being the future. I want to say to you, you are the future today. You were the future yesterday, you are the future today, and you are the future tomorrow. Don't undermine your capacity, your capability for contributing in building a better South Africa. But first and foremost, focus on building yourself through behavioral change. Where you see that things are not going right, go out and get the information, influence others around you for a behavioral change, so that South Africa as a country can be a better country, but South Africans who inhabit South Africa can also be better people. I thank you very much, Program Director.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Minister. We really appreciate that you spent time with us this afternoon. We are really inspired. Young people are really inspired, Mama, by seeing your energy towards youth and youth development, because it really helps us also as a department to respond to the heartfelt needs and the needs of young people at the grassroots level. So we really are encouraged. And as the young people spoke for themselves to you, Mama, it really is served a purpose of encouraging you as well, that when you're thinking SASSA, when you're thinking NDA, it's about these young people that grab these opportunities and turn their circumstances around. Thank you very much, Mama. We are almost at the end of our program, ladies and gentlemen, which marks the end of our Youth Month. So we are joined by our we're joined by our DDG, Community Development, Mr. Nejipale, to give us a word of thanks. Over to you, Mr. Nejipale.
Thank you very much.
Are you able to hear me, Mr. Nejipale?
Yes.
Okay, we can also hear you. Yes, we can. You can go ahead. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone who is present here in the webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, respected youth, Director of the proceedings, as you have already mentioned, it is such an honor for me to get this opportunity to thank everyone who attended this webinar this afternoon. It is such an important opportunity. It is now 3 o'clock, and on the 30th of June, as we close the Youth Month, you are all aware that since 1976, June month continues to be dedicated to the youth of our country, especially remembering those that stood against the apartheid government and laid down their lives fighting for freedom and the right to equal education. It's real, it happened, and that paved way for what we are. Today, 2021, it marks 150 years for the anniversary of the birth of our liberation struggle, our heroine, human rights campaigner, Mannya Maxeke, which we celebrate as a country today. And I think the theme was based on her, which is ensuring that we empower the youth. Ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you of the mandate of the department. I think Minister mentioned some of that our mandate relates to the broader social protection requirements that is expressed in our Constitution, Chapter 9, 10, the 27, and also in our NDP 2030, which support the principle and the importance of democratic values, human dignity, social justice, and equality. Therefore, you are in the right place. These values and aspirations in our Constitution requires that we take action towards eradicating poverty, addressing inequality, limited access to the quality of services, income support, create opportunity, and empower our own youth. So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the department and the government as a whole, I would like to extend a vote of thanks to the people in this gathering. I would like to express my gratitude to all esteemed delegates, especially the youth that spoke, and those that didn't speak today, and they might have spoken in other fora for this webinar. You know very well, in 2013, we launched one of the best programs in this country, the youth camp. And it is through that youth camp that start at a sub-district, at a district, at a province, up to a national level, that created an opportunity for you to thrive. The sky is the limit. Allow me to extend my gratitude to our Honorable Minister, who was here for a long time. She was listening. And as we are recording things, we can come up with a nice booklet. We will call it 2021 COVID-19 initiatives, or something like that. We can publish that. If you allow, we can publish that with your photos and many others. I also would like to thank all youth that participated in this, that I think the sky is the limit. You can do whatever you want in this country. Dream on, do whatever you want. The soil is fertile. You put one seed, a plant will come out of it. Let me thank the organizing team, both from national and provinces at the start. Let me also thank the communication team that always put us on the map, the community development branch team led by Dr. Mlaudzi and Dr. Pearl, and for their sterling work that they've done in the past few weeks. They've been crisscrossing the whole country with the minister, but I think if it was not COVID, they will be crisscrossing all over again. Director of Proceedings, let me thank you for the sterling work that you have done. You reminded me when I was a lecturer. It was very great. Keep it up. Thank you for the leadership during this webinar. I would like to thank everyone for making this webinar a success. You need to say to yourself, to boost, trouble us with whatever you want. We will be able to assist you and ensure that you have. As you are aware that the objective of this webinar was to profile and highlight successes and sustainable programs that you have implemented during COVID. We appreciate your good work, and we want you to strive for better throughout from now on. But the services that we have must benefit the people. I was so impressed by one youth who said that she established a business and she sells to the CNDCs, meaning what government does must find its way to empower you. In the olden times, you used to say, nothing for youth without youth. I'm saying nothing economic about youth without youth themselves. I would like to thank you very much, and I therefore would like to thank the youth that we are celebrating today, and that each year we will ensure that we celebrate more as a way of encouraging those that are sitting home, those that are not so motivated like you, so that they can see the bigger things that is coming. With those few words, ladies and gentlemen, especially the youth and the minister and everyone, I would like to thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Director General, Mr. Peter Nejipari, for the inspiring words. Nothing economically for youth without youth. That one was really on a good note for us, because youth have become a very critical stakeholder towards their own development. So you just said to us, dream on, young people, bounce forward. The sky is the limit. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of our session. Statistics South Africa revealed that youth unemployment rose to a new record high of 32.6% in the first quarter of 2021 from 32.5% in the final quarter of 2020. This was the highest rate since the quarterly labor force survey began in 2008. In the first 3 months of 2021, they put the number of unemployed youth at over 7.2 million people. While the statistics are worrying, it is clear that young people are using the resources at their disposal to make South Africa a better place. I am Dr. Pearl Molojwa, facilitator of this session, and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. Goodbye.